we just finished the new classical model, okay? And we know, in new classical model, we don't like government intervention. We would love to have a free market, okay? Because, you know, any sudden change in aggregate demand is no good. It's no good, okay? Because eventually it will be self-corrected, okay? Yep, in the long run. Yep, that means in the long run it will be self-corrected. And then we just started the introduction to the Keynesian model, okay? Yeah, which was developed by this guy right here, John Maynard Keynes, okay? And he believed once again he did agree, okay, on the new classical model, right? In the long run, things will be fine. But the argument is when do we get there? Okay, what if we cannot get there? Right? Things will be pointless if we cannot get there, right? Because we have suffered, and then we are not getting better, right? So that is his argument. Okay. So yes. Okay. So let's go back to this part here, the Keynesian model, right? And so hopefully you have watched this video. Anyone who have watched this video, can you just say yes? Or if you haven't watched that, then just say no. Anyone who have watched that? Come on, guys. I mean, you. So now I believe you have so much more time, right? Just get there and watch that video. That video is good for understanding what's going on in his idea. Okay, this guy, right? Keynes. Okay, so yeah. So if you have watched that, that's good. If you haven't watched that, please go to this website. Well, go to this YouTube link and watch it. Okay, you have a better understanding. Okay, to see why we have to understand the Great Depression. Okay, yeah, because you see here, Keynes believed, okay, during a recession, right, or you can call that recessionary gap, right, where the AD is moving towards to the left. Okay, yeah, moving towards the left. Okay, so you will see there is a recessionary gap, right? And if we believe in neoclassical model, we think that eventually it will be fine. The gap will be disappeared. Okay, because in the long run, it will go back to the potential output. But this is the argument from Keynes. Okay, it may be very difficult for the economy to recover. Okay, just like what happened during the Great Depression. So that's why we need to understand what Great Depression is. Okay, yeah, Keynes had been through the Great Depression, and that's why he came up with this idea. Okay, yeah, which means he believed we might be just stuck in the short run. Okay, so yeah, so that's the main idea from Keynes. All right, and you can take a look at this. So that's why Keynes, if you're talking about a Keynesian model, there will be no short run and long run. Okay, because Keynes, right? He believed, in the long run we are all dead. Then why should we care about long run? Just focus on the things that that are the most important to us in the coming future. Okay, so there should be no short run or long run because we are not gonna get there. Okay, yeah, and also there is another assumption from this model, very important assumption, and which is the wages and product price. Okay, the product prices, they are always very sticky. Okay, in new classical model, we say it will be sticky in the short run, but in the long run, it'll be fine. Okay, when people they realize the change in price, realize the condition of the market, yeah, it'll be fine. But to Keynes, he didn't see it like this. Okay, he believed there will be some sticky wages and sticky product prices, no matter you are in the short run or long run. Okay, so that is one assumption that he made. Okay, so once again, let's say right now you are in the recession. So can you once again very quickly tell me why are the wages sticky in recession? Just give me some examples, right? We talked about some examples before, right? So you just have to give me all those examples. Like why? What could possibly be the reasons why the wages are sticky when there is a recession? Anyone? Come on, just throw some ideas in the chat box. Oh, okay, yeah, that's one. Yeah, workers they are unaware the price level. Yeah. And anything else? Yeah, there will be a lot more examples. Yeah, there are so many reasons. Yeah, there could be minimum wages, right? Contracts. Okay. Anything else? Oh, okay. Trade unions. Okay, right. That's good. So there you have it. Yeah. So yes, and also, right? Yeah. So there you have it. Okay. Right. And at the end, the firms they have no choice but to cut workforce rather than cutting wages. Okay, so here we now understand why wages could be sticky. Okay, based on what we have learned in the new classical model. But here, when we talk about Keynesian model, they also believed the product prices are always sticky as well. Even when there is a recession, the product prices are also sticky. So why product prices are always sticky even in recession? Any ideas? Like why? So in recession, like logically, yeah, when people the income they are getting lower, then they cannot buy so much services or goods anymore. Oh, okay, Ian. Oh, that's good. I would say Ian has the right answer. Okay, because firms they cannot afford more loss. Okay, right? Because now you see here there is less demand. Okay, and as a firm, we have our self-interest. Okay, we want to stay at the same level of profit. Okay, and if we want to do that, yeah, because who wants to incur a loss? No one wants to incur a loss, right? And that's why even when there is a recession, firms their behavior, okay, they're not going to lower the price in reality. So this is what Keynes believed. Okay, so they will stick at the same price because they do want to maintain the profit. They don't want to reduce the profit, and that is the reason. That is the reason why prices, okay, the product prices, they are also sticky. Okay, in this assumption. All right. Okay, in this assumption here for Keynesian model. Okay, so yeah, so you can tell Keynes is a more realistic person here. Okay, yeah, kind of pessimistic as well. Okay, yeah. Um, so you can see from here, let's try to understand the Keynesian model using the new classical model first. Okay, so here, take a look at this. Because of the decrease in AD, right? We know there will be a recessionary gap. Okay, yeah, and we know that if we are talking about new classical model, right? This is how it goes. Look at this. This is how it goes. So in the short run, right, to the long run, it's going to go from A and very slowly back to B, and then you will go back to C. Okay, so that's new classical model. there is a self-correction over here. Okay, when you talk about new classical model, when you are using the situation when there is a recessionary gap. So the recessionary gap over here, right? Okay, yeah. So make sure you point out the recessionary gap when you are working on your exam. All right. Okay, but now when we think about Keynesian model, okay, Keynesian model, like what I just said, we have some assumption. We assume the prices, the wages, they are always sticky. Okay, even when there is a recession, it's always sticky. So take a look at this. See here, the initial point is at A, right? Okay, but if we use that assumption Keynesian model has, then we are going to make one conclusion. So the price level is going to stay, it is always staying at this level. Because in the assumption, they are very sticky. Okay? So if that's the case, then when there is a decrease in aggregate demand, okay, there's no way it will go back down. Okay, the price level will go back down and eventually go back to the potential output. Okay, because when you stay at this price level, you will go to D, you will go to point D when the AD decreases. Okay, yeah, because now, okay, the wages and the prices, they are very sticky, so you have to stay in this price level here. Okay, so with that being said, you now are at point D. Okay, yeah, instead of eventually going from point A to B and then C, now you are stuck at D. And look at what happens when you are stuck at D. You see here, there is a huge recession gap over here. Okay, so this is the idea of Keynes, because after Great Depression, right? When we know about Great Depression, there was over 20% of unemployment rate. So many banks, they closed down. People, they had no income. Okay, they had no investment. No one wanted to invest. Okay, the stock market collapsed. It was terrible, and that's why. And also, he realized during that time the price level was not going. What was not changing. So you see here, that proves, okay, in Great Depression, something like that, right? There is a huge recessionary gap, and it does not it does not get better when when we have more time. So we are always stuck at point D. Okay, we are not able to go back to B and then C. So this is what Keynesian model is. Okay, so you can see the difference between the neoclassical model and the Keynesian model. Okay, neoclassical model eventually, give it more time, yeah, very optimistically, it would go from A, B to C. Okay, right? But when you talk about Keynesian model, because the prices, they are always sticky, so we are always stuck at this point. Yeah, at the end, a huge recession if we don't do something about it. Okay, so we cannot reach the long run at all. Okay, because it gets stuck at point D. Okay, you guys got it? So that's the difference between the two models. All right, and now let's use the same diagram here. Okay, yeah, I'll show you what the Keynesian model looks like very soon. But now we're trying to use the neoclassical model to help us understand the concept. Okay, so now if it is going to be stuck at point B, okay, and if you are a Keynesian, what would you suggest to the country to get from Y1, the output of Y1, back to YP? government intervention. What kind? It could be, yeah, it could be, yeah. But here, when you look at the diagram here, how do you make it? How do you make it back to YP? How do you make it back to YP from the diagram here? If you are stuck here, well, it doesn't really matter if it's A. Okay, as long as you're going back to YP. So this is the potential output that you want to go back. But you see here, movement along is not going to work because now the price is stuck. Okay, we have sticky wages, we have sticky prices. It's always going to be, we are always going to stay at P1. So what should we do if you're the government? When you take a look at this diagram, how do you possibly, change it from point D back to back to somewhere at YD? Increase AD. Okay, government buy stuff. Okay, that's good. Try to increase AD. That is correct. Okay, that is the whole point of Keynesian model. All right. So when we are even using the new classical model, we are able to understand how the Keynesian model works. Okay. So that is the way that Keynesian model is trying to say. Okay. We need more stimulus. Okay. To the AD. All right. So you guys, you guys have got the right idea. So take a look at this. Take a look at this. So yeah, right. So more expansionary demand side policies, right? If you are the government, the AD will go up. Okay, and Keynes he always talk about a term stimulation. We should stimulate the market. And someday later, some guy just made some very bad joke, okay, about Keynes, right? Like here, that meme, okay, yeah. So yeah, it's really bad. It's like some kind of really bad joke. But anyway, yeah. If you don't think about it suggestively, then it makes total sense. Okay, just don't think about it suggestively. Okay, it's really true. That's what Keynesians believe. Okay, so Keynes believed that we should always stimulate the private sector, which is the society. Okay, because we are always stuck in here. There's nothing. If we don't do something about it, we are always going to be stuck at here. So we need to make a change. So the government has to stimulate the society, okay, which is increasing the AD. Okay, and then you have another meme, yeah, from some very bad economist. Okay, yeah, it's also a very bad joke. So take a look at this. Yeah, the dad told me about Keynesian economics, so I thought I'd help. Yeah, any idea about this meme over here? Yeah, what is he trying to say? This meme here. What is he trying to say? Anyone would like to explain? So now the daughter, yeah, he knows about Keynesian economics. So she burned down her house. What does it mean? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay, if you burn down the house, you will have to repair the house. Okay, or you have to buy another house. And then you may be also buying some insurances and some other things, right? You are creating more AD by burning the house. Okay, so that is what Keynesian economics is all about. Okay, yeah, but I can tell you one thing. Do you believe this will work? Do you believe destruction is creation? It's more like a philosophical question, but yeah, it's also related to economics. What do you think? Is destruction equal to creation? Is this what you are trying to say? No, why not? Not sustainable. Okay, there's no value added. Wait, come on, wait, Michelle. Look, when you are building another house, there will be a value added, right? There will be some value added when you are building another house. When you know, yeah, have more production. Yeah, and well, Ian talked about not sustainable. Uh, okay, right? But think about this. We can use a theory. Okay, well, you don't have to learn that theory, but it's kind of a fun theory. We call that a broken window fallacy. Yeah, a broken window fallacy. Okay, think about this. So as a human being, we always focus on something that is seen, but we don't account for something that is not seen. That is the problem. Okay, in here we see that. Okay, this is what we see. If we burn down a house, you will have to rebuild the house, and there will be more economic activity. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is seen. Okay, but what we don't see here is what if what if we have so what if we would have done with that money if the house is not burned down. So this is something that we may save it. Okay, we may spend it in somewhere else. The father may spend it for a very nice suit. Okay, and then the tailor will spend the money on groceries, and the grocer will save a bit of the money and then spend it in somewhere else. So at the end, even if you don't burn down the house, there will be still more economic activities. Okay, so the only difference between the two scenarios is just whether the house is being burned down or not. Okay, so that's why it's a fallacy. Okay, this is what someone already corrected this fallacy. Okay, so you can tell, look, when you destroy something, you are really destroying stuff. Okay, yeah, there's no way you are able to get the ultimate benefit from that. Okay, so you can tell, right, when you talk about prosperity. Okay, it's not by destruction, it's always by production. Okay, yeah, and that's why when you think about the two scenarios, right, they will all create economic activities at the end. Okay, it's just when you burn down the house is gone, so you still lost the house. Okay, so that's one big argument against Keynesian economics. So when people they told you no, right now even when we are destroying things, we are trying to create more jobs, more opportunities. That is just a big lie. Okay, because when you are destroying something, that something is gone. Okay, right. So yeah, that's one argument against Keynes. All right, yeah, but it's just one very kind of funny side story, or you can say side theory that you might want to know. Okay, yeah. So you can see for new classical economics, Keynesian economics, there are so many arguments. Okay, and that's why I told you they are like two rappers. They're like two rappers battling each other. Yeah, using different arguments. Okay, yeah. So yes, okay. So that's the idea of Keynesian model. Okay, Keynesian model. All right. Okay, and so you can take a look at this. So this is what a Keynesian AS curve looks like. Okay, it's going to look like this. All right, yeah, and yeah. So before we go through this, so we are going to divide the entire curve into 3 sections. Okay, yeah, and before we explain each section, take a look at this. So here, at this point here, that is your potential output. Okay, and here y max that is your maximum output. Okay, we'll explain that very soon. Okay, so that's the curve. Yeah, because we know Keynesian model, there's no short run and long run. So that is already the AS curve. Okay, yeah. And so let's take a look of it, yeah, from the first section. Okay, so what's the difference between different sections? Here is how we see it. Okay, in different sections, there will be different degrees of resources, employment, and spare capacity in the economy. Okay, so I would say if you go from left to right, okay, the level here will go less and less. All right, you get it? Okay, so in section 1, you are going to expect there is a high, very high degree of resources, that you can employ, and also there are so much spare capacity in section 1, and then it will get less in section 2 and 3. Okay, yeah, and your AD is just moving around, okay, like this, anywhere. All right, anywhere, 81, 82, 83, anywhere. Okay, and it represents, okay, which situation that you are currently at. Okay, all right. So let's go to the first part. Okay, the section 1. All right. So let's take a look at this. If your economy is at section 1, okay, so look at this. YP, that is your potential output. And right now, your output is right here. So you are going to expect you are in a very tough situation. You are in a very bad economic situation when you are in section 1. Okay? So because when we know that, okay, different sections, they are just represents the level of the resources that you have, and also the spare capacity that you can use. So here, right? So think about this. Let's say, so in section 1 is actually the main focus from Keynesian model. Okay, so you see here, this section here, yeah, Keynes focused on this section a lot. Okay, and that's why you see the shape right here. Well, you will see why the shape here is a horizontal line. Okay, think about this. When you are in the Great Depression, okay, with very low output, like what we are having right now, yeah, here in this equilibrium point, right? And there is a high unemployment, a lot of spare capacity. Okay, so here, why there is a lot of spare capacity is think about this. When you are in potential output, okay, yeah, the resources, they are being used, very efficiently. Okay, but when you are having a tough time, okay, no business, they would love to invest anymore. Okay, so many factories got shut down, and there are so many machines in the factories, okay, they are not being used because of the downturn of in the economy. So this is what they are trying to say. When you are experiencing a very bad economic situation, okay, the investors, the producers, they don't produce anymore. So there are so many idle capital in your economy. No one use them, right? Because there's no output. Okay, so this is what they're trying to say. So here's the question for you: if you are in a situation right now, right here, would the unemployed people be happy if they can find a job? Would they be happy if they're able to find a job in a situation like this when there's a high unemployment? Would they? Guys? Yeah, right? Of course. Of course. Okay? Because now, the unemployment is so high. Okay? So many people, they have lost their job. So, they will be so happy if they are able to get a job. Okay? So if that's the case, Do you think you are going to ask for more when you have a job? Do you think, well, I deserve way more than this. You should give me. No, right? Okay, because we are in a very tough time. Okay, so here you are not going to ask for higher price. Okay, and at the same time, yeah. So let's say you are moving from 81 to 82. Well, you are still in the section one. Okay. The second question is, do the firms need to buy extra capital for the workers? So now, okay, so now we are actually hiring those unemployed. And do you think that we have to buy extra capital for the workers? Why not? Yeah, exactly. They have spare capacity. Okay, so we don't need to buy extra capital for them. Okay, so if that's the case, we don't have to compete in the market in order to get the resources. So you are going to expect the price is not going to go up if that's the case. So that's the idea from Keynesian model. Okay, so take a look at this. So this picture is just extracted from the photos they have taken during Great Depression. Okay, so yeah, so many people, they every day they just go on to the street and hanging this cardboard, okay, around their shoulders and trying to find a job. Okay, so here, yeah, I know free trades, I speak three languages, for 3 years, I have three children, yeah, and no work for 3 months. I just want to have one job. Okay, that is the problem. Okay, and that is the idea of Keynesian model. Why in section one is a horizontal line? Okay, yeah, because people, they don't care anymore when they're experiencing a recessionary gap, when they're experiencing a recession. They just want to find a job, and you are not going to push up the price because there are so many spare capacity in a society. Okay, so at the end, even when the AD increases, there's no inflationary pressure. There's no inflationary pressure during a time like this. Okay, so you can say, therefore, price level will not increase even the output increases. Okay, based on the idea of Keynesian model. Okay, yeah, that is the major idea from Keynesian model, because Keynes had experienced Great Depression, and this is why he came up with this model. Okay, if you are having a bad economy, usually it should look like this. Okay, instead of like new classical model. Somehow people, they realize, oh, the price level should be changed, should be adjusted. But here in reality, no. Okay, right? So that's why you see two different ideas. Okay, yeah, and then we can go to the second part. The second part here. Okay, so finally, the AD has increased to a point, okay, which has surpassed the section one. So now, yeah, it has gone to section two, right? So what does it mean when it goes to section two? Okay, so you can see when you go to section two, the price level will start to increase. Will start to increase. Okay, so let's say this is here, right? The potential output is also in section two. Okay, so you can think about this. When you are in section two, okay, you are going to expect there is no more spare capacity. Okay, because now we are already going back to the potential output. Okay, so the spare capacity that in section one, which we had plenty of it, so now they are all being used. Okay, right? And that's why if we want to produce more beyond potential output, we have to buy extra resources. Okay, yeah, because now the economy is already using all the spare capacity. Okay, yeah. So if you want to produce more, then you have to buy more resources, and you know that when you buy more resources, okay, when you compete for more resources, you will push up the price. And that is the reason why in section 2, okay, after there's no more spare capacity, okay, if you want to produce more, then the price level will go up. Okay, yeah, the output will still go up after potential output. Okay, yeah, but at the same time, the price level will go up as well. Okay, yeah. So once again, in section 2, yeah, you are going to see, okay, a potential output is also in section 2. Okay, yeah. So potential output doesn't mean the maximum output. Okay, because if you still remember, potential output, if you are at that level, you will have full employment. Okay, just because you have full employment, okay, doesn't mean that everyone in the society has a job. There will be still some people unemployed based on the natural unemployment. Okay, so if you are able to hire those people in the natural unemployment, then the output will go up, right? So it makes sense. It does make sense. Okay, so now you are trying to compete, to that scarce resource in the society. So that's why when you're trying to compete for the resources, you are going to drive up the price level. And at the same time, if you're able to do that, then there should be more output. Okay, right? So that's the case for section 2. All right, yeah, and yes, right. So the resource prices will go up if you want to make more output because of the reason I just mentioned. Okay, all right, yeah. So yeah. So once again, see here, the real output you can still increase it. Okay, potential output is not the maximum output, right? Because when you are getting potential output, there are still resources out there in your economy, and if you are able to recruit the resources, you can get more output. Okay, yeah. So yeah, all right. And the full employment here proves why there are still resources in the society. Okay, all right. So that's section 2. Okay, so you can actually see, right? That's why in different section is representing the level of resources employment and spare capacity. Okay? Yeah. So now we can go to the third part. Okay, the third part here, the section 3 here. So now we know if we go beyond potential output, there are still resources that we can recruit if we want to increase the output. But if you keep recruiting the resources, so one day you will achieve maximum output. Okay, and maximum output is when you have used up all the resources in your economy. Get it? If you have used up all the resources in your economy, there's no way you can increase the output even further because you have already exploited. Okay, you have already depleted all the resources using them for output. So in section 3, you will see is a complete vertical line. Okay, so that is the result of when you have used up all the resources. Okay, so there will be no more increase in output when you have used up all the resources in the economy. If you are still trying to increase the output after you have achieved the maximum output, the only effect will be just the increasing price level. Okay, because after that, there's no way you can increase the output. If you still want to do that, you will just drive up the price level. That's all. Okay, yeah, there will be no more extra output that you can do. If you're still trying to increase the AD, you are just making the price level even higher. Yeah, with no increase in output. Okay, so yeah, so that is the result when you have used up all the resources in your economy. Okay, and that is the idea of Keynesian model, right? About AS curve. Okay, so there are 3 stages, right? Okay, yeah. So I would say even though in Keynesian model, he believed there should be no short run and long run. Okay, but when you take a look of this diagram, you can still see there is a timeline. There's a timeline, right? Yeah, because in section 1 is we focus when we are in a very bad recession. Okay, it might take some time for us, okay, to go from here and back to normal, and then give it more time, we will be able to reach the maximum output. Yeah, because but at the same time, the maximum output may not give you the optimum result. So yeah, so at the end, the result is the demand might go back to your potential output, right? Okay, so yeah, yes, so that's the idea, right? So you can actually see some time movement in this like AS curve, okay, even though there's no short run or long run. All right, okay, so that's yeah, the whole thing about Keynesian model. All right, okay, yep, and once again, so if we want to recap, okay, sticky wages in both monetarist model and Keynesian model. Okay, so sticky wages, when will it happen in monetarist model? When will it happen in monetarist model? When would we see sticky wages? Okay, in the short run. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so yes, okay, and that's why you will see a upward sloping SRAS curve. The SRAS curve is all because of sticky wages. Okay, and what about Keynesian model? Keynesian model, when will we see sticky wages? Always, right? Okay, you see here, you don't ever see the price level will go down. See here, this is already the lowest point, and then it will just go up, 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 and up, up. All right, yeah. So unlike neoclassical model, okay, it doesn't know how to go down. Okay, yep. So yes, they are always sticky, even during recession. Okay, right? Yeah. So this is the difference when we talk about sticky wages in both models. Okay. So and once again, yeah, you will see if this is the case, right? So the economy will not go up after this very maximum output. Okay, so if we apply the same idea that we used in long run aggregate supply, then we know that this curve can shift too. Okay, can shift as well. Okay, yeah, and before we talk about the shift, okay, so here, take a look at this. If you put AD curve anywhere, okay, around the AS curve, that is your equilibrium point. Okay, so anywhere, any intersection around the Keynesian AS curve, you will find equilibrium. Okay, yeah, and yeah, and yeah. So the main feature of Keynesian AS is just you will see different effects in different sections. of the curve. So different sections represents different situation in your economy. Okay, so here, this range here, what would you call it? This range here, what would you call it? So this is from the beginning of this and to before reaching potential output. So this range here, what would you name it? From 0 to it. Deflationary gap. Okay, yeah, deflationary gap. All right, yeah, you have to go back to the macro knowledge. Okay, but what about this range here? So that is after the potential output. And yeah, thank you. Inflationary gap. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which model that you use. Okay, you can always apply the same concepts into the two models. Okay, yeah, all right. So when you see deflationary gap, you know that the economy is kind of bad. Okay, but just when you talk about Keynesian model, yeah, when you are in deflationary gap, you might be stuck there forever if you don't do something about it. If you don't do something, Keynes prefers, okay, stimulation of AD, then you might be stuck there forever. Okay, yeah. So that's the point of this model. Okay, and so once again, here this part, so don't learn from me. Okay, well, what I'm saying is do not do this in the exam. Okay, you should never put two models in one diagram. Okay, because they are enemies. Okay, but here I'm just trying to show you, if I make like collision between the two ideas, how do I make it? So this is the picture. Okay, so this is the picture, and Keynesian AS curve will be somewhere around here. Okay, because you remember when there is a decrease in AD, they always have sticky wages and prices. So yeah, so in the recessionary gap or deflationary gap, right? And that's why it's a horizontal line, okay? Because of sticky wages and prices. Yep. And then if you are able to stimulate AD, it will go back to YP, okay? And yeah, you can see beyond YP, then you will have inflationary gap right here, okay? So this is, just showing you, if I put two models together, this is how we interpret them. All right, but do not do this in your exam. Okay, in your exam, you just have to pick one of them and explain it. Okay, unless the questions specify which one you should use. Yeah, then you just have to pick one to explain different ideas, like to explain unemployment, to explain inflation, to explain economic growth. Okay, you just have to pick one. You don't do both. You don't do both in one diagram. Okay, that will be wrong. Okay, yeah, all right. But I believe after you have seen this diagram here, it should give you a better understanding, like the relationship between the two models. Okay, the two models, right? Okay. Okay. So once again, we just talked about this. So when you think about the business cycle, in the long run, you see that potential output is an upward sloping curve. Okay, so if that's the case, then you know that even Keynesian AS curve, it can shift. Okay, and the reasons for the shift is just the same. Okay, the factors for the shift is just the same as the ones that we have discussed in new classical model. Okay, right? They have the same factors. So as long as there is a continuously increase in quantity or quality of factors, then your LRA, your Keynesian AS will shift to the right. Okay, yeah, and once again, they are subvectors, right? When you have better technologies, when you have more workers, when you have more capitals, when you have better efficiency, when you have better institutional changes, right? Okay, better taxation system, infrastructure, financial services, then you will have a shift in your Keynesian AS curve. All right, okay, and at the end, it's going to look like this. It's much more simple than what you will see in neoclassical model. Okay, so sometimes when you are trying to explain different ideas, like trying to explain inflation, trying to explain unemployment, trying to explain economic growth, or different policies, sometimes it might be a better idea to use a Keynesian model to explain it, because it's so simple. Yeah, you just have to shift the Keynesian AS curve, and then take a look at this, right? Before, Y1 was the maximum output. So after this, there's no way you can increase the output, right? But if you have all those factors affecting you, affecting the quantity or quality of factors, then the AS curve will shift. So now you see here, Y1, now we can go to Y2, okay? Yeah, and the demand and the AD curves, they don't always have to be located right here. Okay, it can be anywhere around the two AS curves. Okay, yeah, here I'm just showing you just one of the examples, but you can see here the main point is when the AS curve shifts, it will go from Y1 to Y2. So now you can actually produce more than the maximum output you had in AS1. Okay, yep. So we would also say this is an economic growth over long term. Okay, yep. So yeah, so that's the idea of Keynesian AS curve. Okay, yeah, and yeah. So it's just a quick summary, right? Once again, Keynes believed changes in AD are so important because if we don't stimulate AD, we might be stuck in one very bad situation or one very bad position. So we need to do something about it. Okay, and that's why the Keynesians, they prefer government's intervention, right? Trying to do something in order to boost up the AD, so that if you are in recession, okay, it will take you out of recession. You will go back to a better economic condition. Okay, so so many developed countries like the U.S., Japan, even so many EU countries, they are all using Keynesian models. Okay, they are all using Keynesian ideas. Okay, yeah, you can see that. Okay, not so many countries, they prefer using the idea of new classical economics. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you can always go back and take a look of the real life examples and see what they are believing. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, so this is the summary of the Keynesian model. All right. So before we go, so take a look of this. Okay, so you see here, there is actually a rap music about neoclassical economics and Keynesian economics. Okay, so yeah, here, when you have free time, go enjoy the rap. Okay, go enjoy the rap music. There are 2 rounds. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Spend your time. Okay, listening to the 2 rap musics. Okay. Yeah. And here is your homework. Okay. So this homework is more like a music homework, but okay, I would say it's more like collaboration. Okay. So I just want you to analyze the lyrics. Okay. I don't need you to do both. Okay. And at the same time, I just want you to do analysis, okay, from Keynes. All right. So you just have to focus on Keynes' rap, okay, Keynes's rap, okay, his part, and you analyze the lyrics. So what what do they mean? Okay, what do the lyrics mean? Right? So here I have 3 simple steps for you. So first of all, okay, go to Google and copy the lyrics. All right, and then yeah, you listen to the music, you listen to the rap, okay, and you explain. You explain the lyrics from Keynes. Okay, yeah, the rap part from Keynes. Okay, and one more thing, do not forget to enjoy the rap from Hayek as well. So Hayek, well, you could say he is a neoclassical economist, or more precisely, he is actually an Austrian economist. Okay, well, yeah, you see, there are so many schools of thoughts, but Austrian economics is is very similar to neoclassical economics. Okay, yeah. So this is the homework. All right, yeah, you guys all right? All right. So this is the homework. Okay. All right. So try to enjoy the music. Okay. So that's all for today. All right. And this homework here, I will set the deadline on Google Classroom. Okay. So I would say let's say the deadline is next week on Thursday. Okay, so you have a week. Okay, have a week time, right, to enjoy the music while analyzing the lyrics. Okay, just the Keynes' part. Okay, yeah, Keynes' part. I don't need you to do any analysis for Hayek. Okay, all right. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna let you go. All right. So yeah, have a nice weekend. Okay. Bye, guys.